everybody, welcome back to a GCSE maths video. Today we'll be looking at powers and roots, specifically indices. So indices are a neat way of writing products. So we can have indices basically look like this. So something to the power of something. Okay, so 2 times 2 is in index form 2 to the power of 2. 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 is 3 to the power of 4. Okay, so how did we work that out? Well, the first thing we want to think about is what is this base number going to be? And that is just going to be the number that we're multiplying. So here we've got 2, this is what was being multiplied, and in this bottom one we have 3. So that base number is going to be what is being multiplied by itself. And then the power is going to be by how many times is it being multiplied. So you can see that the 2 here is being multiplied not once, but twice. And you can see that the 3 is being multiplied 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. And therefore you have the base, which is the number being multiplied, and the power, which is how many times is it being multiplied. Okay, so a bit of terminology. When a number is to the power of 2, we're going to call that a square number. So 2 to the power of 2, 3 to the power of 2, 4 to the power of 2. We can say 2 squared, 3 squared, 4 squared. And that simply means 2 times 2, 3 times 3, 4 times 4. And then when a number is to the power of 3, we call it a cube number. So 2 to the power of 3 is 2 cubed, 3 to the power of 3 is 3 cubed, 4 to the power of 3 is 4 cubed. And that would just look, for example, take the 3 cubed, 3 times 3 times 3. Okay, and if we're thinking about how do we calculate indices, for example, 3.2 squared on a calculator, just press, it's going to depend what calculator you're using, but usually there's an x to the power of something button, and you can just input the relevant numbers. So in this case, your x here is going to be 3.2, your y is going to be that squared. Okay, so we'll get on with some practice questions. So write in a form using indices. So remember, indices is in the format x to the power of y. So what is that base? What's that x going to be? Well, it's going to be the number that is being multiplied, and that is going to be 3. And then that y, how many times is it being multiplied? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 times, so 3 to the power of 4. And then we have this next one. So the base is going to be 4 because that's the number that's being multiplied. And how many times is it being multiplied? That is 3 times. The next one, what's the base? The base is 5. And how many times is it being multiplied? Twice. And then we have the base of the next one is 10. And how many times is it being multiplied? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's 10 to the power of 5. Okay, so the next one's a little bit different because we have 2 different numbers. We've got 3s and we've got 7s. So I would advise you to just deal with them separately. So let's focus on the 3. So the base is going to be 3. How many 3s do we have? We've got 2. That's going to be 3 squared, so you can get rid of these 3s. And then we want to think about the 7s. So the base is going to be 7. And how many times are we multiplying 7 by itself? Well, that's going to be 4 times. And you can see here that the 3s and the 7s are multiplied, so we can just join them up nicely. Okay, so yeah, if you've got a situation where you've got different numbers, then to simplify, you just want to focus on putting the same number into indice form. Okay, so work out without a calculator 6 squared. So how do we get this out of indice form? Well, 6 squared simply means 6 times 6. And that is 36. What about 2 cubed? Okay, well that just means 2 times 2 times 2. Okay, so 2 times 2 times 2. Let's focus on the first 2 times 2. So 2 times 2, that is going to be 4. And then times by another 2, that is going to be 8. Okay, and the next one is 3 cubed. So 3 times 3 times 3. So let's focus on that first 3 times 3, that's 9. And again, it's being times by another 3. 9 times 3, that is equal to 27. Okay. However, now you can use your calculator. So you can use that x to the power of y function on your calculator. So give that a go for each of these questions. 9 squared. Put that into your calculator, you should get 81. 3 to the power of 4, let's put that into our calculator. And again, you get 81. And then what about 2 to the power of 6? You should get 64. Okay, so I hope that was clear. Just a brief introduction to indices. You can see that we learned how do we write something in an indice form, how do we work it out without a calculator, and how do we work it out with a calculator.